So we did a video, Enrique, about your potential redundancy and the fact that that wasn't going ahead at the moment. And that got us thinking, didn't it, about the fact that we may need to do some work after we start claiming our pensions. So you found a really interesting document, didn't you, from Simply Pensions, that talked about the tax implications of that in particular.
Yeah. So the document does talk about the tax implications, and we'll go into that in a little bit later. But what it said was 2.8 million Brits return to work after retirement. I mean, finances is one reason, but it was also citing lots of other reasons, like mental stimulation, having a purpose, missing colleagues, just missing that general routine of being in work. But what it did point out that lots of people don't go back to their full-time employment. Lots of people are choosing to do part-time or maybe even seasonal work. So, summer work or this time of year, Christmas time of year, that kind of work as well, which was really interesting.
And people are finding a balance between retirement and working. So not going back full-time, but getting a bit of a balance in there. But I mean, that's one of the positives. But from a tax perspective, what were some of the downsides?
Yeah, so it went into, managing all the different income streams that you've got. So there's your state pension, your DB pensions, if you have them, any income that you might have from a DC pension, and then there's your income from that additional work that you're doing. So it's how do you manage them four incomes to make sure, or to try to get the most tax efficient, to be the most tax efficient. You don't want to go into that 40% tax bracket if you can help it.
We've done a lot of work over the last 12 months using that app Snoop to really drill down into our expenses and what we spend. So we got a really good idea of what we're going to need when we retire. We've also done a lot of work on looking how much our pension's going to pay out, getting all the statements out, going through the different options for taking tax-free cash, all them kind of things. But I think the thing we're still missing is that tax planning, financial plan. In my mind, what it looks like is for the first 12 months, you'll say, January, February, March, April, May, and you'll go through each month and say where you're going to take the income from. For years 2 and 3 onwards, that'll just be, where's our income going to come in year 2? Where's it going to come in year 3? And the idea there is planning where we're going to take DCs, where we're going to take DBs, so that we're maximizing our income by minimizing our tax. A good example of that would be we'll use tax-free cash once we start to get to a tax limit. Therefore, and also, you'll have a different income stream than me, and we'll both hit tax limits at different points, won't we? So whether we pay out income from your pension sources or from my pension sources. And also, when we do get to 67, if we still find we've got some of the pot left, we don't particularly need to draw our state pension at 67. We can potentially defer that to 68, 69. We'll get a higher amount, but we'll get less years of pension paid, won't we?
Yeah. So as well as looking at your income streams, you can also look at what can you do with that additional income that you're earning if you don't need it financially. So you could look at maybe putting your additional income into an ISA or a stocks and shares ISA, where you get your tax back when you put your money into an ISA, and then there's no tax implications when you draw the ISA when you eventually fully retire.
Yeah. So another thing you mentioned was the MPAA, the Money Purchase Annual Allowance. And if we do start earning a reasonable amount when we work after retirement, the amount you can put into your pension really reduces, doesn't it?
Yeah. So before drawing a pension, you can pay into a pension £60,000 with tax benefits. But as soon as you start to draw any pension, that's limited then to £10,000 a year.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, there's some ways you can take some amount of your pension without triggering the MPAA. So, for example, just taking some tax-free cash, or if you've got some really small pension pots, less than £10,000, you can take them without triggering the MPAA. But I wouldn't assume that. You always need to check these things out with a financial advisor, because it's very much dependent on your own circumstances. So when we did our financial plans, we're quite fortunate. We're both pretty good with spreadsheets. We got a bit of a financial background between us. But what about people who are listening who don't really have them kind of technical skills to be able to do that kind of analysis?
Yeah, I mean, it's always worth anyone getting advice from a financial expert. But did you know you can draw a certain amount from your pension pot to pay for that financial advice? So I would recommend, speak to your pension provider. Well, I can't remember the limit, but you can draw money from your pension to pay a financial advisor, and then they will tailor that finance roadmap for you, giving you the most tax efficient ways to draw your money.
So potentially other people might be thinking, well, I'll sell some assets to fund my retirement, keep myself below the tax limits. But there's some implications, isn't it, if you start selling assets?
Yeah, capital gains tax. And again, if you're unsure, speak to a financial advisor and they will, understand the tax implications of selling off assets as well.
So I think what the article taught us really is if we are going to start working again, then that financial plan is absolutely critical, isn't it, to make sure we're not just working to pay more tax really and keeping within them limits.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I hope you found that useful, guys. And if you are looking to do a bit of extra work, don't forget it might be worth speaking to a financial advisor. But thanks for tuning in, and Tracey and I will see you on the next one.
Bye.